All right, moms and dads, with this video, we want to talk about not just your kids' health, but the entire family. And the number one thing we see negatively impacting families' health now, today, more than ever. Whether we're talking about little tiny infants, grade school kids, little kids trying to go through development and sensory emotional regulation, our teenagers, or us, moms and dads, exhaustion, chronic fatigue, burnout, and all the chronic health challenges that come with that are the number one challenge we are facing with our family practice today. Now, I'm going to get into the thick of it. I'm going to get into the not good of it. I'm going to get into the root cause neurophysiology of it with this video, but I'll jump to the end really quick and I'll tell you this. If your family's facing exhaustion, if you feel like you are literally just burnt out, dead tired, and there's not enough Starbucks and not enough sugar to keep you and your family going every single day, then you need this whole video, because on the other side of this is how we help. On the other side of this is how we address it. Not with drugs and not with sugar and not with caffeine, but with a real natural root cause approach that can actually help your family keep up. Get your sleep back online, get your energy back online, get your brain working again. I don't know that there's anything worse than brain fog, fatigue, and exhaustion. We've all experienced it. I'm a dad of 4 kiddos. They've got their schedules. I've got all the stuff I love to do. And there's nothing worse than facing that dead tired. That's just one day. Now, if it's every day, every week, every month, what if you've been facing this for years? This is a video that we're going to get pretty nerdy and pretty detailed with this one, but we're going to get real life. This is going to serve your family in a major, major way. The truth is, today it seems like everyone's tired. It's us, it's our kids, heck, it's all over the place. So what do? We turn to short-term fixes. We turn to that caffeine. We turn to that sugar. We turn to different stimulants. Maybe for some of you, some families, emotions, brain fog, these things have gotten so bad that you've turned to prescription medications to try and get through this. Our nickname for this conversation is being wound up and worn out at the same time. In our practice today, we see more anxiety paired with exhaustion than ever before. We see it in kids, we see it in families, and I want to break down the science behind it and get you the natural drug-free action steps you can take to get to the other side of it so that your family is fully energized, happy, joyful, focused, emotionally regulated, your brains are working again, your body's working better, everything comes online when you address it in this way. So first off, let's get down to the basics of what we call the 3 stages of subluxation. Now, for this video, that's actually the root of what we have to teach you. Subluxation, as I say that word, is probably a term that you're familiar with if you've been following our content for some time, or if this is your first video you're finding on our platform, the first time you're hearing about neurologically focused chiropractic care for kids and families, and I say the word subluxation and you go, huh? What the heck is that? It means stressed out. Subluxation is a neurological term that means the entire sympathetic nervous system is stuck on. The central or autonomic nervous system, which regulates and modulates every tissue, every organ, and every cell in our body, gets out of balance and shifts into what's called sympathetic dominance or overdrive. We have tons of awesome articles on our website about subluxation, about sympathetic overdrive, about sensory overdrive in kids, and about something called dysautonomia, which we're going to break down here even further in a second. But that's what's underpinning and coming from subluxation. So we talk about the 3 stages of subluxation because that's the path that leads to exhaustion and burnout in kids and families alike. But the first thing that subluxation does is it triggers what we call that perfect storm sympathetic dominance. So kids actually face these different stages of subluxation and can get to exhaustion earlier and more often than ever before today because pregnancy is more stressful than ever before. For so many families, even before that, the fertility journey was filled with tons of stress and tons of anxiety. And then in today's world, instead of being pregnant and being excited, medical doctors diagnose moms and treat pregnancy like it's a medical condition. God forbid you did it over the age of 35. So it's stress and it's stress and it's stress on our moms, on our families. And when moms are stressed, baby is stressed. That umbilical cord that is connected from mom's nervous system to baby's nervous system doesn't just bring oxygen and nutrients, but it can bring stress. And so this isn't a conversation that I love to have. Right now, we're only in chapter 1 of looking backwards with these 3 stages of subluxation and exhausted families, but it starts way before anybody else tells you to. It's not just the sports schedule. It's not just the work schedule. It's not just what your family's up against today. It's what they went through, your child went through, especially perhaps many years in the past. And when we talk about this maternal distress or pregnancy journey, the challenge that really affects families is it affects both beautiful rock star humans in this story. If mom is overstressed all the way through the pregnancy, then what is her postpartum journey going to look like? What is her energy that she can rebound and recover her health with? Oh, wow, by the way, after growing a baby for 9 months, now she's feeding the baby and caring for the baby and tending to every one of their needs. So if mom is exhausted, baby is exhausted, and the family is exhausted. And then we have birth interventions, forceps, vacuum, C-section, which come in and physically damage, injure the upper cervical spine where neurological regulation and balance comes from. So a forceps, a vacuum, a C-section delivery literally wreaks havoc and physically injures or distorts, again, that term coming back to it, subluxates what's called the upper cervical, upper neck, and brainstem areas. And this area houses the vagus nerve. VAGUS. Now, I know I'm nerdy in this video, but I know I'm also speaking to the real life challenges your family is going through. The vagus nerve is actually what recharges our nervous system. The vagus nerve regulates our emotions. The vagus nerve controls our digestion. The vagus nerve keeps inflammation down. The vagus nerve activates our social emotional regulation. And so when we are subluxated up here, the vagus nerve is shut down. So now our sympathetics are running unabated with no brake pedal, no recharging. We call that the perfect storm, or again, dysautonomia. So stage 1 of subluxation is sympathetic dominance and vagus nerve parasympathetic exhaustion. What does that look like in an infant? Colic, eczema, constipation, chronic ear infections, chronic crying. What does that look like in a toddler? They can't sit still. They can't calm down. They can't make transitions. They can't regulate their mood. So it's constant tantrums and meltdowns and behavior challenges. What does that look like in a preschooler or a kindergartner? A kiddo who's now getting in trouble, can't sit, can't focus, can't learn. That continues through grade school. They're diagnosed with ADHD and told you're supposed to sit still, but their internal nervous system is sympathetic dominant fight or flight. What does that look like for development? Well, that's stage 2 of the 3 stages of subluxation. Neurodevelopment requires neurological organization. Now, what I mean by that is when the nervous system is balanced and regulated, so if it didn't go through stage 1 of subluxation, sympathetic dominance, it wouldn't go to stage 2, which is disorganization and developmental delays. See, a confused nervous system gets off track with gross motor development, fine motor development, sensory processing, speech, social and emotional regulation. So the second stage of subluxation is what we call neurological confusion, and it alters for kids their motor tone and coordination, and that then affects their brain. So focus, cognition, emotional, and behavioral regulation. And real quick, we went heavy on the pediatric component of these stages of subluxation right there, but it affects us too. We are living this busy life, so it seems natural that we would get stuck in sympathetic dominance. But as parents, as teenagers, as grown-ups, when we get in sympathetic dominance, we get confused as well. We get disorganized as well. And there's nothing more exhausting than being disorganized and feeling like you have to run around with your hair on fire. Happened to me. Now I don't have any hair. Just bad joke sneaking in here after 10 minutes of talking neurology. It's totally normal, but not. It's common. So burnt out, exhausted moms and dads who feel like they're always disorganized, they're always running late, that's only going to add stress. It's only going to add anxiety. And when you do that long enough, doesn't even take too long to be sympathetic dominant, stage 1, neurologically disorganized, chaotic, and all over the place, stage 2, to end up in stage 3 of this conversation around subluxation, which is the conversation we're having. Exhaustion, burnout, chronic fatigue, brain fog. This is actually where some serious chronic health challenges like autoimmune disorders, Lyme's disease, POTS, PANS, PANDAS, celiac, Crohn's, and these things start to really set in for parents. Now, that's a big deal because that's not just a stressed out body. That's not just a confused and disorganized neurophysiological system. It's now a shut down and suppressed system. So the gut stops working. The immune system stops working. Our thyroid and adrenals stop working. We reach what's called adrenal burnout or adrenal fatigue. Moms, dads too, but especially females, their thyroid goes into a disorganized storm and then a shut down and suppressed storm. So now your metabolism is a mess. So now you're trying to work out, you're trying to eat right, but it doesn't get results. So stage 3 of subluxation is where all the chronic long-term stuff sets up shop. Now, I could teach this stuff for hours on end because there's even sub-bullet points to the bullet points within each of these stages. But I want you to know this, families out there. We can find it and we can fix it. Now, we don't treat a single thing. Chiropractors in this way, neurologically focused chiropractors, as you'll find in the pxdocs platform and our directory and in our practice, we don't treat a headache. We don't treat back pain or neck pain like standard chiropractors. We don't treat any condition. We address the root cause with neurologically focused chiropractic care. So the only way to get through especially chronic health issues is to not suppress their symptoms with medications or supplements or Starbucks, but to get to the root cause, which is an overstressed, disorganized, and now exhausted central and autonomic nervous system. So the majority of patients we see today, including far too many kids than we like to see, they've actually reached stage 3 of subluxation. We can see this through what's called our neurological insight scans. So we have an incredible cutting edge technology that we use in all of our practices that can actually measure and quantify this stress. We call it our neurometrics. So now we don't have to treat and chase symptoms like medicine. And honestly, let's be honest, a lot of times natural health, integrative functional care is just using supplements to track these imbalances or these symptoms, but they all tie to this same conversation. The nervous system controls everything. And if it's wound up, worn out, disorganized, and exhausted, well, we've got to address that. So there's a very specific set of clinical protocols and neurologically focused adjustments that first can energize and activate the nervous system and get it back to balance. Once you get it back to balance and get it calm and regulated, it gets organized, it gets more efficient. And from there, that's where parents who are burnt out and have brain fog get better. That's where kids who are exhausted and emotional get better. That's where everything starts to get better when you get the nervous system better. Addressing subluxation, dysautonomia, and nervous system regulation is the key to pretty much every single condition, especially chronic ones, that your kids, yourself, your family may be going through. What I want you to do is learn more. Comment below. Send us a DM or check out the link in our bio and learn about these stages of subluxation. We wrote an incredible article that pairs with this video that'll break it down even further and give you examples of heart rate variability scans, HRV, and these different neurological assessment and neurometrics we can run in our office. We can find it. We can help. There is something out there that is drug-free that gets right to the root cause of your family's exhaustion. It doesn't mean you can't keep up. It means your nervous system can't keep up. Fix that, and everything becomes fun. Everything becomes exciting. Everything becomes engaging instead of exhausting. Comment below, send us a DM, and please share this video. We are here to help with hope, answers, and drug-free help every single time.